I don't have a good intro yet, so it's for
That's fine. I
you.
mean, whatever. I don't care.
Welcome, hey everybody. This is the Sarah Normal Activity. I'm Sarah, and this is a show about where funny people talk about scary things. And today I have with me a total stranger by the name of Adam Nowak, who is my brother
What?
and an
That's
armchair
true.
Sasquatch. Sasquatch or Bigfoot? What do you prefer?
Well, I like Bigfoot, to
Bigfoot,
be honest with you.
Bigfoot
Yeah. I
enthusiast.
have a, I have a, yes, I have
Yeah.
a point. I have a preference. It's
Okay.
Bigfoot, but whatever. Sasquatch is great too.
Yeah. All right.
Somebody calls them forest giants,
Oh, I
and
like that.
I love that. I wish that was more, that was better. That's because that's actually what we'd probably call them if they become, I don't know, whatever. They'll be called Bigfoot if they get into the
Yeah.
zoological record
That's what they'd be
properly.
called if they were in the Dungeons and Dragons universe.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah. They'd be, yes,
Hmm.
forest trolls or something. So here we are.
Yeah. So how long has this been something that you have been interested in or excited by?
It's funny. So, like, when we were kids, we were always, we were always into, I think we were always into this, into like the paranormal, the supernatural.
Yeah.
In fact, I have, this is weird. I'm going to just say this and it doesn't matter. Do you remember Uncle Mike, right? Uncle
I
Mike just passed away recently. I was present in like 1982 when he pulled out of a box from the mail, like these books called like Mysteries of the
Just the
Unexplained.
unexplained, yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool, man. He's like, yeah, look at it. And so I'm paging through it. I'm like, can I borrow it? He's like, oh, I just got it. And I'm like, can I borrow it? Yes. I still have those. And he never, capital N, never saw them again. So anyway, but yeah, but so it's all like this umbrella of like psychic phenomena and ghosts especially was a big thing for me. Like,
Mhm.
and UFOs, coincidences, like, people like predicting the future and all this other interesting stuff, and cryptids, Bigfoot and Yeti and the Loch Ness monster, etc. And so but as the years went on, this is just me personally, like I sort of have different feelings about certain things supernaturally, and I really don't, I'm a kind of a rationalist, so I don't believe in the supernatural per se. I believe in the paranormal. But
Me.
um I think like if we took all that stuff on a scale and we put like a line and said like, well, this stuff's completely ridiculous, completely
Yeah.
fake. Like
Hmm.
Atlantis maybe is like completely fictional,
Right.
or whatever. And we put that line on, for me that line is very, very much like on one far end where almost everything is fake.
Yeah.
But for me, Bigfoot is on the far end of very likely.
Okay.
Um, I was at one point I saw a scientist. This would have been in the 90s, speaking on TV about it, and he said 200,000 years ago there was a bipedal ape in Asia that, for all intents and purposes, could have looked like what we think of as Bigfoot. And that blew my mind because I was like, wait a minute, like this isn't just out of thin air. This isn't like an imaginary thing. Like this is actually there were real bipedal primates. We know that they're
Hmm.
bipedal primates from the past. If we were to take a time machine back, we could see these. They wouldn't look like people. They look more like apes walking on two legs, tall walking on two legs, right? That's not the same thing as like a gorilla walking on two legs in the zoo or something, but these tall, slender, but not human primates.
Yeah.
And they were all there were many species of them.
Uh-huh.
And the theory is, one of the theories is that there were a population of these animals, probably that they were probably in Asia. They started in Asia, And if you look back in time in history, the Homo sapiens actually killed off lots of our ancestors. Like, I don't want to misspeak, but like Cro-Magnons and Neanderthals, like they actually they did battle with those people, with those non-human um people. I'll say
Okay.
people,
Sure, sure.
and they wiped them out. We all have like some Neanderthal in us
Okay.
still,
Sure.
but like DNA wise. But the theory is that these animals, these big giant apes, um, may have been like predated by these, you know, populations of primitive humans.
Right.
Rather than dying off, they may have gone nocturnal
Mm-hmm.
and emigrated across the Bering Strait like human beings did
Yeah.
and populated North America, maybe South America, whatever,
Right.
and have known like are just genetically predisposed to hiding from human beings
Yeah,
as
like
part of their
that's such
uh
a good
yeah,
that makes sense. That does actually makes kind of a lot of sense that it's like in their DNA to hide. That's why they're
exactly.
so hard to find, is because that's how they've survived, is by being hyper aware of human beings and like keeping themselves safe. That's how they've been able to survive. That's very interesting. What a thought.
Yeah. And there's nothing to me, I use the term, and this is me personally, but I keep using the term, there's nothing about them, my understanding of them,
Hmm.
that breaks the laws of physics.
Hmm.
Right. So that what I just said, all that stuff is completely possible. That's nothing within the zoological record would say, oh my God, are you kidding that something could do that? Absolutely it could.
Hmm.
Um, there's some people have like beliefs about Bigfoot and that they're transdimensional. There's UFO stuff involved. I can't deal with that. I'm not interested in that. I'm just interested
All of
in.
that.
Well, I know. You love that. I know that. Well,
Sent
we'll
me
cover
down a
that someday.
mental rabbit hole.
Sorry. That's a rabbit hole. We'll talk
I
about that
want. Okay,
someday.
that's okay. That's okay.
But that's
I'll
not
I'll
my.
do that
That's
by
not
myself.
my
That's
thing.
fine.
If
Yeah.
you could show me, like,
Yeah.
I want like a body, or I want to like
Yeah.
know that these things are for
Yeah.
real. Because it is true. It is like, why isn't there a body? Like people, obviously there's millions and millions of skeptics.
Hmm.
People just don't. Obviously, there's most people don't believe. It's
Right.
absurd. It's used as like a an example of like ridiculous beliefs.
Right.
But I don't believe, in a sense, like in Bigfoot. I'm looking at evidence or possibilities and just continually seeing like, God, this sounds so realistic. This sounds so real.
Hmm.
There's so much behind it. And scientists have looked at so much of this stuff and just gone, boy, this is very real. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do with this, but
Yeah.
it's so real.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Um,
don't already like don't aren't there lots of animals that bury their dead? Are there some animals that bury their dead?
that's interesting you say that. Like I don't know.
I feel like there's
That's a
some.
theory
Yeah.
that people say that they do. But there are also probably a lot of these Bigfoot that are alone, but they might be. Oh, there's a whole science of this. In fact, this is something I read
Hmm.
long ago when it came to. This is weird, but like when a farmhouse cat or dog is gonna die, have you never heard of this? They instinctively or some biological process will make them go into a corner of the barn and die.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that
yeah,
is
all cat
okay.
that's all cats. All cats
Right.
hide. Yeah.
Okay. So the thought being that like maybe if one of these things is feeling like it's going to die or whatever,
Hmm.
hides or buries it, not buries itself, but like goes into some brush or something. I don't know. They're so remote. The continent is so vast. It doesn't surprise me, or doesn't surprise, I think it isn't surprising that we haven't found a body, or at least when we say we, like a body hasn't been found or a skeleton hasn't been found, and then transported to some expert somewhere that says, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not crazy about government conspiracies, but I've also heard some stories about, there's a possibility that there's government agencies who know about these things.
Hmm.
Oh, that's a picture I should bring up. I should try to find this. That know about them and say, hey, let's keep it a secret because if it was found out, you'd have hunters from around the world everywhere throughout the Pacific Northwest
Right.
just waiting to kill one of these things, and you'd have to agree on some level that they're somewhere in the human realm, perhaps,
Hmm. Hmm.
not human, but like not ape and not human, but somewhere in between, possibly.
Yeah.
Let's. Do you want to look at a video? Well, let's look at a video.
All
Do you
right.
want to look at a video?
Sure. One sec.
Well, you know what? Let's do this. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
I'll just preface videos. First of all, like we'll talk about some videos, maybe we'll
Okay.
look at some videos. But like I always say, and I brought some of my favorite videos, just a few of my favorite videos.
Okay.
And also there's a fake video that we'll start off with that looks totally so fake. Like I can't
Okay.
imagine anyone thinking this is real. But
Right. Right.
the um the thing about videos is they all look like a guy in a suit because that's what Bigfoot it I mean it isn't, but like as a bipedal human looking thing, right?
Yeah.
Like so it's just nothing you'll always
Can't,
look at a
can't
video and go, that's
take it
fake.
away from it. Yeah.
So, you got to kind of like use that as, I don't know, take everything with a grain of salt, but there are
Gotta take that with a grand assault.
a grand, what did you say? A grand?
Take that with a grand assault.
Okay, yes. But like, I don't know. There's some interesting ones, but let's look. Can you want to look at this first one? Um this fake video?
Sure.
What I think is fake, and I think the Bigfoot community, as soon as this came out, and this is brand new, this is like last week or 2 weeks ago.
This was posted by
Yeah,
EUN580 on TikTok on October 1st, stating, "Scariest moment of my life. And I really think I caught Bigfoot on camera in the forest.
I mean,
I was just doing some sightseeing, enjoying the day, and saw something in the distance.
and he's
I was
just
really
sitting there
thinking as I typed this.
chilling,
I
like
watched the original
I
video
don't
by
think
400%, and I've slowed it down to half speed and running it back and forth for you all so that you can get a better look.
that those hands and stuff just look, and that he's sitting there like sniffing on some lilacs or something. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah. So
I think that's fake.
isn't this, so I looked into, I feel like I saw this somewhere else where, isn't this a guy who dresses up and does like tours?
It could be.
It's a specific guy.
Absolutely.
Oh, I wish I had kept that, but it's like I feel like this is a specific guy. Does this get interesting anywhere, or is it just that piece?
That's just it. That's all that we see. So
All right.
we can dispense with the rest of it if we want to.
All right.
But I just wanted that but that's been on TV. They have been playing that all over the place. It's kind of
Uh-huh.
silly to me. But that's an example of like what I think is now, and I'll just say this too, like that's the good thing about that is like the big I'm part of like all these, what subreddits and different groups, and they all post it and they all say it looks so fake, and they search for like costumes that it could be, so I think that the Bigfoot community really does, like, they want things to be real.
Yeah.
So when something sounds fake, they like will right away call it fake and stop sharing it,
Good. Yeah.
But this next one, this is very subtle and very, very weird, and you might not get it, but let's look at it. It takes a minute to get into it, and this is actually a silent clip. There's a lot of talking and chatter in this, which just has nothing to do with it at all. But you can, if you wanted to blow it up, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm
Because
trying. It's not giving me full screen.
doesn't want to full screen you.
Doesn't want to
So
full
if
screen
you
me.
look, that's okay. So, and I find this stuff creepy. You can just play it. It's fine. So if you are looking at the car here, and if you look above the car, oh yeah, you can see there's a white spot, like this is a big patch of openness there, a little patch of openness there.
Uh-huh.
And you'll see something in there in that little spot. And I just think that that's very strange. It's a very, very high tree. And personally, I mean, this has just kind of gone around as like an example possibly of a juvenile. Oh yeah, you can see
Oh yeah, yeah.
like how's it like that's is that a person? Possibly, sure. Yeah, you can see right there, like yeah, there, swinging in the tree. Now, and that's not the subject of the video. It clearly isn't.
Right.
If if there was a if it's fake or something and somebody was attempting to put their kid up, put somebody up in a tree to, this is just absurd that it could be a hoax, but it's something up there. And you know, it's just a very strange little weird thing. And I do think it's cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, it's super subtle. It's not like uh, uh, super in your face.
Right.
I don't think there's much more to it after this, but you can see like the something swinging up in the trees. Is it we say, could it be a chimpanzee? I don't know. Like,
But yeah, it's like
that's
we don't know
weird.
where they are. Like, but
Like, well, no, this is, it's in New York.
oh, it's in New York. Oh,
Yes. It's in New York. And these guys are speaking like, there's no audio thing. Oh, wow. Yeah. Now you can really see this thing swinging around. Like,
yeah. Yeah, something's in there.
but it's,
You know, yeah. I mean, listen, that
yeah.
could be that could be a Bigfoot swinging in a tree. That could be like a one of those shiny balloons that
You're
like,
right. You're
you know what I
right.
mean?
You're right.
But it's
You're right.
but it looks like it looks intentional. It looks like it's moving intentionally.
Yes. Yes.
So
Could be. This could be.
yeah, and everybody who's listening to this in your car, this is all going to be on YouTube, so come check it out.
Yes.
We're on
It
YouTube.
looks like it looks like a little thing, like a figure, or it could be like a chimpanzee or something, but it's very, very, very small and very
It's
hard to
very
see.
small. It's in the distance, yeah, and it
And
is.
it's like, but it is not very, because this is mostly what Bigfoot videos are, unfortunately. And they
Yeah.
call them blob squatch. Like this is like you can't really see much to them, and that's kind of disappointing sometimes. But eh, this this next one, let's look at this next. And again, I'll say this. Like again, everything looks like a guy in a
Oh, uh, oh,
now
like
that so that's to me that's freaky. I don't know.
okay. So if you're, oops, okay, for if everyone listening in your car, we're watching a stealth cam. It's a trail cam, so it's like you put it out to look at your deer in your yard,
That's right.
and out ambles from the trees a very scary lumbering man. Oh, just the way he's carrying himself. Oh, now, and so people, this is like this is
This is
purportedly
this is a
real.
trail cam.
Okay.
Now, if you just want to play it back one quick time, and I don't know if you can pause it at a moment, we'll get this down here. And then if you pause it, so see how far up, that's okay. Like, so I'll put this out there. And the one video I didn't bring and didn't want to play is the Patterson Gimlin film, which everyone has seen 100 times. It's
Yeah.
been like like not overdone, but like it's been enhanced a million times, and it's great. And it's unfortunately, maybe, or fortunately, but for the past 50 plus years, it's still like kind of the best
Hmm.
video of a Bigfoot, because film has so much more detail than video, because everything gets pixelated and you can't enhance it. You can't get it better than
Right.
what's kind of in the camera here.
Hmm.
But one of the things about Bigfoot films or Bigfoot pictures is you'll see as his leg, the way that his knee bends as he's walking. This is very weird and subtle, but you'll see how it kind of extreme the knee kind of bends, or it kind of comes back. In that moment you could see like the foot swings way back, almost at a 90. The knee is almost at like a 90-degree angle.
Huh.
and the foot kind of human beings don't walk like that in any way. We just don't.
Okay, I've got it real slow for us.
Yeah, so let's
Oh, yeah.
just take a look. And this is very hard to. I mean, it's very, very dark, but so creepy. I love it. And then there you can see how the kind of the back foot kind of comes up, not at a 90 degree, but like at an extreme angle. If you or anybody you see walking, they're the angle of their feet are very, very, very light, very soft compared to
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And video after video after video shows a much sharper angle on the way that they walk, which is it's just weird. I mean,
Yeah.
we could sit here and like, why? Who would think to do that? Is it evidence? It's if everything's consistent and inconsistent with human beings, like I don't know. It's just an interesting. To me, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very cool. Very
So
cool.
I'm
All right.
gonna send you an email anyway. I love that video.
That is a good one.
This one here, yeah, I mean, you might have seen this one. This is a very popular one. This has some nice audio to it as well.
Too much up through here. I hear the brush popping and stuff. Oh, hello.
Hi.
Jesus. Get up here where I'm seeing you. Get up here. Get better picture. Um,
So, I mean, that's Paul Freeman in I think he even said that it was 1994, I think, right
Yeah.
there. And that's considered like one of the best.
Wait, sorry.
Yes. And this movie does
Sorry, I just started playing something else. I
it's a short film called
There's
Portrait of God, which is very creepy. Looks very, very creepy.
It does. Yeah, we'll watch that
Yes.
some other time.
But
Okay.
he was going out and investigating a sighting. So someone said, I saw something out here,
Sure.
and he went out, and this is what he captured. So the stories behind him, his life, and it sounds very real. It sounds very, very real.
Oh, he gave him a little look. He gave him a little like, hey, what's it? Give him a little, and then he stops. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
That's not a bear.
if you see, and honestly, like we could sit here, like you say, it's a guy in a suit. Suits just don't. I don't know. I mean, the best suits, the best stuff, like does not look. It looks that good if it's the best Hollywood type suit. It's not like off the shelf stuff. Anyway, I do quite love that. And the Portrait of God. This is a creepy short film. If you want to, that's another short film, another episode. So those are some videos. Those are some videos I like. I was gonna put other videos. There's actually this is creepy. I think you'd like this story real quick.
Okay.
There's a story about a video, no video, but a story about a video that these guys like there was on a reservation like in a casino,
Mhm.
and there was a security camera. And because the reservation owns the footage, they aren't showing it or whatever, I guess. But they did show it a little bit, and some people said they're eyewitnesses to the video. But apparently, it's like showing this like parking lot, and there's a dumpster, and this thing comes, and would be the best Bigfoot video ever. But the Bigfoot comes in, and there's a big like lamp, like a parking lot light, and the Bigfoot is so tall that it dips under the lamp and walks up to the dumpster and opens up the dumpster and is rummaging through the dumpster. And I've been searching for they call it like it's one of these weird things that I don't know if it'll ever be found again, but it's called like the grease trap Sasquatch or something, because he's like going in for a grease trap. Who
Yes.
makes up this stuff? I don't know.
Perfect, like lost media. I would love to see that. I want to see a great
Yeah, I know.
big.
That's the thing. I keep like trying to figure out how we can like find that video again. It's so
Yeah.
crazy, but that's cool. That's like a cool. But anyway, there's video evidence. I like it. I don't love it because most of the time I look, I go, I don't see anything, or
Yeah.
I'm not seeing what I'm seeing is not really that interesting per
Mhm.
se. Um, or it's not like so convincing that this is it, you know.
Mhm.
But I still love a cool Bigfoot video.
Yeah.
I sent you an email. Are you able? This is a picture I wanted to show you. And this is not a joke. And I don't have all the
Better
information
not
about
be. You better not be kidding. It's better not be a joke.
it. It's a jump scare.
Jokes
But
were.
it is so, and I have to let me just run back and just check to see where this came from. This is it's the US Air Force. Okay. They were given they made these maps for the people they were training in a special forces, like basically a special forces unit in the Air Force. And this was from in Spokane, Washington. So they made these maps that they'd give to these guys, and they'd have them in their packs. And this was in the 1970 late 70s, I think. No, wait. Is that 2007? So they put out there the wildlife. This is the wildlife that you might see there.
Huh.
And put Sasquatch there right in the middle. Like, I feel, is that a joke? Like, does the military, are they involved in jokes like that?
Yeah.
Like, let's put Sasquatch in there as a joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this training, like, we're gonna give this map to these soldiers. Would they put a picture like that and they have, I can't find it, but there's a description of the behavior of Sasquatch
Huh.
in the Pacific Northwest. I just think that's fascinating that you could see that this is, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's
That's
like
interesting.
it's kind of wild to me that that's how far reaching, or how much some people, understand this stuff to be real, or how real this kind of stuff is.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's like he's like hanging out. He's like leaning. It's not like a cartoon or anything. It's like
No, yeah,
looks like a guy.
exactly. Yeah,
It's pretty
it's just, yeah, it's like an illustration of a possible animal, and whatever. I know. I think that's fascinating. So,
interesting.
but and my personal thing is like eyewitness accounts. I love eyewitness accounts.
Hmm.
That's always going to be my thing. I've talked to you about this. Like, I've listened to hundreds of eyewitness accounts on podcasts and such, which sounds silly. Like, it's a podcast, right? Like, who makes a podcast?
No one cares.
No, but the point is, no, I'm just kidding. But really, like, if it's just somebody with a mic, sitting with a microphone telling their story,
Yeah.
you listen to their story, and I like to think I have a good, either like a bullshit meter. I understand,
Yeah.
like, when someone's lying or someone's acting, right? Like, that's something I think I'm pretty good at.
Hmm.
I've listened to some of these stories, and did you listen? Did you listen to that story that
Yeah.
what did
Yeah.
you? I mean, what were
The
your
woman who
thoughts
she like,
on that woman?
yeah, I mean, I just feel like I feel like here's my thing about that. Like, I feel like people like to talk about themselves, right?
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of times, like, people want you to know about themselves, about them. And like, and so sometimes when people are like bullshitting and want to lie, they kind of talk in a certain way, and you can kind of tell where it's just sort of like they're not trying to they blow up the story so that you feel a certain way about them, you
Mhm.
know, where it's like, I want you to feel sorry for me, or I want you to think that I'm cool, or I want you to like have pity for me, or I want you to like hate this other thing so that I am better. But I feel like if someone's telling the truth, it's like not manipulative. And I don't feel like her story was manipulative in any way. I think it was just like very straightforward.
It was like
Yeah.
she was recounting something that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very a long way of saying it was just it was very straightforward, and like I don't think that she was trying to sell me anything, you know?
Right, right.
It's like she's like, I
And
don't care if people believe me. This is my story. I don't care if people
right.
believe me.
And then just, I guess, I mean, we won't necessarily recount the whole thing necessarily, but just for the listeners and the viewers, like there's this classic podcast. It's called Sasquatch Chronicles, episode 515. I'll just point you toward it. It's the best of like count of a thousand podcasts that this guy has. And it was a woman from the UK who was in California in the 90s for work, and she took her camera to take some pictures of the shore in like the Bay Area, sat there at this rocky beach somewhere, and saw this family of, I think it was 4 or 5, right? There was like it was like a male, 2 females, and 2 children. And like it's the way she described them as being as like thinking it was cats at first, which is so strange. Like who would think they were cats? But they walked on all fours, which is something that a lot of people observe.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people also, because their legs and their bodies are very different from ours, and they pop up. They can stand up the way in a way that we can't. So they pop right up, and the male goes, and she's sitting there watching it, with her camera in her hands, not being able, too shocked to take pictures.
Yeah.
Pulling that seaweed out of the water and throwing it back, and the women are like doing something with it with their mouth, and the kids are throwing sand around. Like it's such a weird but also mundane story. Like, and then after that it's shocking because whatever, but it's like it sounded so real. And universally, like when people go on these subreddits and say, hey, what's the best podcast, what's the best eyewitness account, they always just say, 515, I shouldn't be alive. That's like the best. There's another one that I really want you to, well, I'll post it, or we'll put it together or something. I'll talk about it another time, but there's some really good ones. Some ones like I just believe that the people are seeing something that they're recounting. It's a story. That's something they saw, the way like you tell a story of a car accident or an incident that happened in your life versus they're telling a story or something like that.
And it's like sometimes I think with so when you know someone, people aren't going to believe you. You're just like, well, I mean, this happened,
Yeah,
you just say it.
sort of. I mean,
so hey, thanks so much to everybody for listening. This has been this is part 1 of Sasquatch Talk. We're gonna think of a better title for it.
I've always thought it'd be cool to use Sassfoot or Big Squatch.
Big Squatch.
Big Squatch is kind of would be a fun.
Squatch.
I don't want to be called Big Squatch.
Well,
anyway, moving on.
Well, yeah. Thanks so much for listening on the Paranormal Activity. Like and subscribe on YouTube.
That's right.
And we'll be back. We'll be back with. There's a whole bunch more. I have like 2 more slides full of crap to listen to.
That's right.
This is Adam. Say goodbye, Adam. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.